So I absolutely love a warehouse store, and today we've got a really special one. We're at the Total Fulfilment and Yorkshire Trading Company warehouse, which is actually where our offices are sat at. The warehouse here, it's a fulfilment centre for Total Fulfilment, but it is also a retail operation replenishment for the Yorkshire Trading Company stores. So it's actually doing two purposes, along with doing the fulfilment side of it from an e-com perspective. We're also doing direct-to-store replenishments as well. So Matt, talk to me a bit more about how this warehouse then, how they run their picking, how they run their storage, right?
Yeah, no problem. So this warehouse is laid out over 5 stories. It's quite large. I don't know the exact size.
200,000 square foot, roughly? Somewhere
around that,
yeah.
It's a big old warehouse. And basically, we have 2 types of storage and locations in this warehouse. We have our pick locations, which we're in now, which is actually a mez that goes up, like I said, 5 stories. So 5 stories of picking. And then we have our bulk storage, which we'll look at when we go over there. Okay?
Yeah.
So what's happening in this warehouse is the picks are being generated automatically. I think from memory they run at about 4 AM.
Yep.
So when the guys come in at 6, everything is ready to go. So all they're doing is they're picking up one of these. These are Zebra devices. They've got a warehouse hard shell case on them that makes them quite nice. You can also get a gun that you can put them in so you can hold them and dock them. And you can also get ones that strap to your arm. But anyway, all that's irrelevant. It's just an Android device with a barcode scanner built in, yeah? So, quite simple. The important thing is the software. So this is running our app. Obviously it's talking to our Helm product. And what this is doing is it's downloading all the picks that are assigned to me. Okay, so when I log into this device, I'm logging in as a specific user, the picks are assigned to me. Okay, so I immediately know where I need to go and what I need to do. Now the way I know that is all the shelves in this warehouse have location identifiers. Okay, so it's really easy. So 1, we're on the 1st floor. Okay, so if we're on the 5th floor, that's A5. B means we're down row aisle B. So A is there, C is there. Yeah, 07 as we've been walking down. This is base 7, okay? And then 1A means down here, and 2A is up here, okay? So there's 2A just here. Look. So basically, I know where I need to go based on the app. So the app's gonna tell me, for example, that I need to go to 1B, 08, 1A. So when someone starts here, the first thing we do is just explain to them the basic numbering system. It takes about 30 seconds for them to get used to that. We use a lot of agency staff. But after that, they're literally like a warehouse sat nav. They're just going to where it says, they get there, they scan. If they scan the wrong location, it'll tell them it's the wrong location, and they move on until they find the right location. It'll then tell them what they need to pick and how many. So in this case, it wants me to pick this, scan it. It's saying I need 1. So then normally we'd have a little trolley or something, we'd put it on the trolley, and then we just scan the trolley to say, done.
So talk to me about that quicker then. So we've talked to a lot of brands, and with us, we've gone down the process of you scan one item in, and then you choose the quantity that you put into that rather than scanning every individual item in. Why have we gone about doing it that way in this warehouse?
Well, basically because people don't scan each quantity if you ask them to. And that's through trial of many years of experience of doing this. If I tell someone I need 5 of these and they need to scan it 5 times, so just to be clear about what Callum's talking about, Callum's saying with our system, you scan the location, you scan the product. What you're effectively doing then is saying, I'm in the correct place and I have the correct product. It will then tell you how many to get, but it doesn't make you scan each time. So if it said get 5, it wouldn't make me do this. It wouldn't make me do that. I'm not going to do all 5, it'll take ages. Part of the reason we don't do it takes ages. But the other problem is, what people actually do is they just do this. And then they go and get 5, right? So it's a pointless scan. It makes no sense. So what we actually do is we fix the problem that you're worried about at packing. And the problem Callum's worried about is that we're going to send this out wrong because we're going to pick the wrong amount of items. Now realistically, we solve that problem at packing, but if we do pick the wrong amount of items, it's not the end of the world. It really doesn't matter. It's better to have that happen than it is to have a situation where people are just cheating and going, because you're effectively just paying people to cheat then. So that's why we do that. But effectively, it's going to go around the warehouse, and as we go around the warehouse, I'm going to pick all the items I need, and depending on the kind of picking that we're doing, depends on how I pick them. So if we were doing bulk, then we would just pick all the items and put them into a big trolley. If we were doing pick to tote, I know you're going to speak about this a bit
Oh,
later.
yep.
We would pick the items into totes.
Yep.
If we were doing pick wall picking, again, that would be different. If we were doing order by order, really don't encourage anyone to do order by order, but if we were, we would pick each order individually.
So why don't you encourage order by order?
Because it just takes too long. But it's the most common pick type. So many people watching this video will be doing order by order. Let me explain what order by order is. Can you hold this?
Go for it.
Right, order by order is this. We're even going to forget the gun because order by order, it's pointless. Order by order is usually people go to their sales channel, they print the order on a piece of paper, and they come round and they walk around the warehouse and say, Mr. Smith wants one of these, and one of these, and then they've got one order, and then they go and they pack it, or they put it in a trolley with the paperwork kind of shoved in. You know who you are. They put it in shoved in, and they do that. And what they're actually doing is walking around their warehouse so many times for no reason. There are so many better ways to do the picking.
The biggest cost for most warehouses, most operations, is actually the amount of time people take walking.
Yeah.
And if you can
Get
reduce
the steps in, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. If you can reduce steps, you can tend to save money.
The key point is this: is it isn't one shoe fits all. The best way to do your items will depend on lots of different factors. And you might be shipping these, and a different warehouse might be shipping these. But the way you ship these might be different to a different warehouse, because your warehouse layout might be different, your warehouse size might be different, the way your staff operate, the courier collection times. Lots of different variables can go into how you pick and pack your orders for high efficiency. You might be selling 1,000 of these an hour, they might be selling 10 of these an hour. It will all depend on the way in which you should pick. It depends on your order profile, your goods profile, and how all that's working together. And that's what we're here to help you decide. But fundamentally, the system is flexible to allow you to get the orders out the door. Just on the point of you might be selling 1,000 of these an hour, if you were selling 1,000 of these an hour, I would be saying you want to use our express packing terminal.
Yep. Pick back terminal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is effectively, let's say you sell 1,000 of these and 1,000 of these and 1,000 of these. You know, you might have these in a little section with a packing bench here, and you're literally going to grab them, scan, label, scan, label. So there's no picking, because you're effectively picking it at the point of pack. If you're doing 10 of them a day, you're probably going to have them picked up in a bit of a pick run with everyone else. So it really does depend. If you were selling 1,000 of these an hour and just these, you might want to batch the labels. So you might want to have a thermal label printer on a little trolley here, and you might want to just have it spit every time you get an order, it just spits out a label. And you might want to have someone coming up and going, oh, right.
Matt, talk to me a bit more about bulk and sort then.
So bulk and sort is the concept of picking your items in bulk. So wouldn't life be great if all orders in a warehouse were singles, right?
Yeah.
Because singles are easy. You go and get everything, you dump it in a box, you go to a packing bench, you scan one item, you get a label, you scan one item, you get a label.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, life doesn't work like that. So what we try to do is we try to imagine a world where multi-orders, bulk orders, were singles, okay? Mm-hmm. And we decided, well, how can we make that happen? And what's the actual thing, if you think about it, that actually makes multi-orders a pain? Well, it's mainly the travel, right? Sending multiple people up and down this warehouse just isn't great, right?
Yep.
So what if we actually just send them out into the warehouse as few times as possible? So what if we send them out once, right? And what if they just put everything in one box? Mm-hmm. Well, then what we have is a mess. Because we have a box full of items, but we don't know who they're for. Yep. We know that they're not singles. We know there's no singles, so we know we can't just scan pack. So now we have to sort. So the concept is bulk, go and get everything in bulk, and sort. So then we thought, well, sorting is quite good, because if we have a nice wheelie little trolley, right, and you can move that around nice and easily. If you have, you know, your tote picking style things here, because with tote picking, which is the other way of doing multis, you would push this around. Yep. But you're then pushing a big everything around where you can only do a set number of orders anyway. So with bulk and sort, it's like we'll flip it on its head, right? So we'll go into a house once and we'll sort. Yep. But now, instead of moving around the entire warehouse, we're moving from here to here. Yep. And we can bring this here if we want, and we can move from here to here to here to here. Yep. So what we then do is we need a way of sorting. So how could we do that? Well, we could give someone a bit of paper, but that's a bit rubbish. So we'll use our app again. We'll use technology. Mm-hmm. So we can use this to sort. So what we can do is we can put this into sort mode. Yep. We can pick up an item out of the box. We can scan it, and it'll say, put it in tote 1. So then we can put it in tote 1. And there's a barcode here, there's a barcode here, there's a barcode here. So we can scan tote 1. Yep. And what we're then doing is we're sorting very quickly on the app into these locations. And when an order is complete, so currently this dog food's obviously waiting for something else, because it doesn't all have to be in the same pick. In the realities of warehousing, you can only fit so much in one trolley.
Yeah.
You might only want to have one trolley per level, yeah?
Yep.
You sort the orders, you build the orders back up again. So you're reversing the concept of pick to tote. You're almost bringing the goods to the tote. It's way faster.
And I mean, I've seen so many different people do this bulk element of it, right? I've seen people use Yorks, I've seen people use pallet collars. I've seen people just use
it can be anything you want. I think one of the interesting things is we've had this in our software for over 7 years now. It's one of our most used bulk sorting, bulk order processing methods. But what's really interesting is I always remember when we first launched it, we launched it in here, and after about 6 months of testing it and refining it, we put it out to our general customer base. There was a customer down south, I'm not going to mention their name, very big food company in London, and we asked them for a testimonial on it. And they said politely no. So I was like, wow, what's wrong with it? What's wrong? Like, we'll make it better. And it was, they considered it their secret weapon and they didn't want their competitors to know about it. And I thought that was really interesting.
It is. It's fascinating. It's all about, again, it's that speed of movement, right? Like, it's about how much time it takes to go around and pick everything in the warehouse, but actually you're reducing the amount of walking, which is reducing the amount of time.
Yes, and not all warehouses can adopt this, because not all warehouses have the space.
No.
Some warehouses, it wouldn't make sense. If the entire warehouse was this bit here, and you're doing small items like makeup, probably wouldn't make any sense. And this comes back to what we were saying earlier on about, with Helm, we pick the right pick and pack process for your warehouse, for your goods profile, for the carriers that you're using, to give you the maximum efficiency.
So Matt, you've gone and picked your orders.
Yep.
You're all ready to pack them now. So we're getting to the packing station. So this is our packing station. Talk to me a bit more about it.
So in this warehouse, this is how we lay out the packing stations. Now, packing stations can be laid out however you want. Again, it depends on your warehouse, your space, etc., etc. But here we do it like this. And what we've effectively got is a bit of racking, some IKEA cabinets, another IKEA cabinet, a trusty label printer. So these Zebra label printers are very good, but the Citizen ones are good as well. This is really nice. So this is the concept of RFID login. And then we just have some packaging, some tape and some boxes. Interestingly, we get asked a lot about electric conveyor belts. We recommend and prefer these gravity rollers. And I think the reason we prefer them is because gravity doesn't break down. You know?
Doesn't cost to maintain either.
You don't have to maintain it, it doesn't break down. And if you pitch this on an angle, so here it's on pallets and it's pitched on an angle, the containers will run down it under gravity. You don't need an electrical conveyor. Way cheaper, way easy to maintain, and like I said, no breakdowns. We used to have conveyors, they break down. They're also a health and safety problem. Right? These are brilliant. Anyway, the basic concept of picking and packing in this facility is the first thing you're going to need to do is log in. So we don't like the concept of people logging into our systems because it takes too long. You can log in with an RFID wristband, that logs you straight into the software. You're then going to use the barcode scanner. You're going to pick and pack your items here. Your labels are going to come out, you're going to pack them up, you're going to put them ready to go out onto the lorries for the couriers, and that's about it. Behind us we have our packaging. You can pick the appropriate packaging. You can configure the system to tell you what packaging you want, but you don't have to. And that's about it really. Very simple, get stuff done. And with this setup you can process, you know, one order every 30 seconds, if not faster, depending on the type of packing that you're doing.
One of the things as well, Matt, that we talk to a lot of brands is actually about managing their goods in process and how important that is for their overall operations. So I just want to touch a bit more about that, about how we get that right as an e-com business.
I think good goods in is good goods out. That's a rhyme I like to tell myself. So, and what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, when you bring goods into a warehouse, first off, making sure that they're barcoded, unless you've been a bit more advanced and using RFID, but making sure they're barcoded and making sure they are put away properly and you know where they are and you know how much of each quantity is in each location means that when it comes to getting goods out, especially for e-com, you're going to be able to do that fast and efficiently and accurately. If you are a bit lax in your goods in and you kind of just bring stuff in, you don't really know where it is, when you're picking, where you can't direct people to picking, I call it guerrilla knowledge quite often, which is the concept of, John knows where that is, or Susan usually knows where that is. Well, when John or Susan are off, you can't pack and pick your orders. So we've got lanes for goods in, we have a goods in area, everything gets booked into a goods in area, it then gets checked and it then gets racked. And we do that in two separate actions. So there's a concept of bringing it off the truck into a goods in area and booking it into that area. and then a concept of putting it away in a known location. And then as soon as it's put away, it's pickable. We don't let people pick from the goods in area. So that's how we do it here. There are other ways to do it, but the fundamental thing we do here as well is if something comes in and it's not barcoded, we don't rack it. So we don't have anything in our racking that doesn't have a barcode on it, because it's just too much of a headache getting it back out again.
Yeah.
If it's dated or batch controlled, again, we make sure that that information is propagated onto the system, and then we know that we're doing proper rotation of stock, especially with drinks, food items, or medication.
I think it's the thing that you have to, somewhere throughout the operation chain, it's going to cause a bottleneck, and you're going to have to do different things in the software, or you're going to have to create workarounds to facilitate it if you don't get it correct when it comes in, right?
100%. The amount of warehouses I go to, and some really big brands as well, where they've got pickers grabbing stock out of stock that's been delivered but hasn't yet been put away, because they're just not on top of that goods in process, or they don't have barcodes on their items because, oh well, they don't come with barcodes, and no one's emailed the supplier to say, well, can you add a barcode? Quite often the suppliers will just do it anyway. You know, but even if it costs you an extra fraction of a penny to have China put the barcode on, it's going to save you 10 times that in your operations when you're shipping stuff out. And also, if you're doing your own distribution right now, great. But if you decide you're going to bring some 3PL into that, maybe you're expanding into other territories, they're going to want barcodes as well.
Yeah. So how do you manage, so I work with a lot of brands where they will say, okay, great, I'm going to create my PO, I know what's coming in from a goods in perspective, but my supplier's only sent me half that stock.
Yeah.
So how do you manage that?
Well, with Helm, you would book in what you've got.
Yep.
That would show a pending amount due in.
Yep.
And then you would contact the company, or maybe they'd send that a different day. But in very simple terms, you manage that by processing what you've got and then having an office or administration action to follow that up.
Yeah. So you can have partial POs in Helm.
Yeah,
right?
you can have you can deliver partial things. You can also over-deliver. I mean, let's be honest, sometimes they send you more stock than you want.
Yeah.
So you can over-deliver.
And how do you manage the over-delivery?
Well, again, it would be an exception within the system, so you would be able to go to the PO. In most businesses, you'd have an office team dealing with the purchasing and the POs, and you'd have a warehouse team dealing with the deliveries, and they are two separate things, you know. You have a purchase order, and then you have a delivery that belongs to a purchase order. That delivery might be for more or less stock than the purchase order.
Yeah.
I think the realities of warehouse.
The main outcome on all of it is if you don't get your goods in right, it's going to affect your operations further down that chain, right? You're going to have to create the additional work to facilitate that. Your operations isn't going to run smooth.
100%, and that goes right back to supply chain.
Yep.
If you're not ordering in the right time, you're going to run out of stock, you're not going to sell.
Yep. Perfect.
And Helm can help you manage all of that, including the purchasing and the suggestions of what to purchase.
Lovely. All right, cool.
Thank you very much.
Perfect.